Next up we have Lover. It is now 2019, Old Town Road is taking over every single radio station. Fire Festival happened, and that incredibly talented woman in the London Underground sang Shallow.
I'm off the deep end, watch as I dive in.
As a prophet once said, after a hurricane comes a rainbow. And to me that kind of really represents the switch from Reputation to Lover. After the aesthetic darkness that was Reputation, Taylor fully switched gears, was loving life, and this album reflected that. This album covers love in all forms: romantic, familial, grieving, which, as another wise prophet said, is just love persevering. Honestly, that quote changed my life. And also love in the form of activism and allyship. Taylor utilized her platform and her voice a lot during this time, specifically to speak up about LGBTQIA rights, as well as the US presidential and local elections. This was something that pretty much everyone in Taylor's camp advised her not to do, and did in fact have like some of a negative backlash. A lot of the general public just kind of wanted her to keep her mouth shut, and even some fans didn't appreciate this. So one of Taylor's friends, Todrick Hall, had said to her, "What would you do if you had a kid one day and they were gay?" And she was like, "What do you mean? I would just have a kid and they would be gay. Like, what do you mean?" And in this moment she realized that she hadn't really made her stance around queer rights or queer people in general clear enough, which seems very silly to me because she had always been quite outspoken of queer rights. I mean, we have Welcome to New York.
I wrote the song kind of following the when gay marriage became legal in New York.
We still have so far to go in terms of equality and protections now, and that erasure to support them.
Since this album was celebrating love in all forms, this was a great opportunity to make sure that everybody felt included. Now, Lover was the first of all of these albums I've mentioned that was recorded with her brand new record label, meaning she owns it herself. So this album, nor any of the ones that will come after it, need to be re-recorded. And we covered all of this in episode 1 about the whole Taylor's version journey, why she's doing it, what's happening, what's next. So if you missed that, episode 1 will be below. While Reputation felt definitely authentically Taylor, it was a direct response to how the world was treating her, at least half of it, as we discussed. Whereas Lover felt to me like a real return to just Taylor at her core, loving sparkly, shiny things, country music. She included some of her musical idols on here, like the Chicks and Brendan Urie. She was back to her old optimistic pop star ways. Proof that, in fact, maybe the old Taylor was not dead after all. In the album's prologue, she wrote, "I've decided that in this life, I want to be defined by the things that I love, not the things that I hate, not the things that I'm afraid of, or the things that haunt me in the middle of the night. Those things may be my struggles, but they're not my identity." And I just really love that as a notion, the fact that this album just really represents celebration of self, of others, of love. I feel like of all of her albums, Lover is one that we've maybe talked about the least on this channel. And I don't know why that is. Maybe because the era got a little bit shortened by the pandemic and what came next. But yeah, I don't say enough good things about Lover. Now, I don't know if other fans would necessarily agree with this, but I would actually call Lover quite sonically incohesive, only I mean that in a good way. Like, again, I've mentioned I don't have a problem with the fact that Red has a bunch of different sounds on it, and I really appreciate that in Lover as well. I think the variety of sounds explored on this album make it really interesting and means there's something for everyone. Whether you like dreamy pop, 80s synth, or jazz, there is something for everyone. As far as key songs, we have to mention Me. This was the first song that Taylor ever owned. I do feel a little bit sad that this wasn't included in the Eras tour, given it was the first song she ever owned and it's a celebration of her.
Like, I just want like little kids to be like, there's no one like me. Like, hoo hoo hoo.
You're the only one. Baby, that's about you. I promise that nobody's gonna love you like me. Oh my God, Rio, you are singing this so loud.
We obviously also have You Need to Calm Down, The Man, The Archer, Cornelia Street, Death by a Thousand Cuts, and a little indie underground song called Cruel Summer. It is truly so sad that Taylor didn't make Cruel Summer the lead single for this album. That would have changed the trajectory of my life. We may not have even had a pandemic. My personal favorites, if you were wondering, are Death by a Thousand Cuts and Cornelia Street. But also this one line from The Man.
When everyone believes ya, what's that like?
When you think about that, there's just something about that line that gets me. Our key themes on Lover are love, loss, alcohol, and queer rights. Okay, my skip, Naturally, Soon You'll Get Better, is a song that I have never been able to listen to and I don't think ever will, but I don't think that's fair to call it a skip. So I'm gonna have to say It's Nice to Have a Friend. I'm so sorry. But yeah, let me know yours. And for our Lover pop culture moment, even though this had nothing to do with the album, for me it is the fact that this is when Taylor shared with us that she would be embarking on her re-recording journey.
You're planning on re-recording some of your music.
Yeah, that's true, and it's something that I'm very excited about doing because my contract says that starting November 2020, so next year, I can record albums 1 through 5 all over again. I think that artists deserve to own their work. I just feel very passionately about that.
This is when she sort of announced to the world everything she had been going through and what she was going to do next. And that really kickstarted so much of what we have got to celebrate in the past 5 or 6 years since then. Also, definitely Taylor and Katy Perry hugging and retiring their feud. And now we have Folklore.